Hi, good evening, guys. Welcome back to all my Indian Reds. Welcome to my channel, Redfooty. This is your host, Red Panda. I'm glad to be doing this next video. I was supposed to do one prior to our Premier League game between Liverpool and Spurs. I decided not to. I didn't have a good feeling about that game. I said I'll just wait out the result, and see how things pan out. So now here we are on Tuesday of this week. We are on the in the eve of a Champions League game between Liverpool and Galatasaray. So we'll talk about that in a bit. But first, let's quickly do post-match analysis of the game that we saw between Liverpool and Spurs this past weekend. So, of course, like any other Liverpool fan, I was extremely frustrated, but I wasn't surprised because that result was something that I have seen and you guys have seen through the course of this season. The context prior to the game was not Liverpool. In fact, the context was Spurs. If you look at Spurs' last five games, they lost all of them with this new manager, Tudor, who frankly looks like a Catholic priest who's extremely strict, you know, hasn't had a good go of it at Spurs, and we've seen a lot of fallout in his short tenure so far between him and his players. The kind of things he says, his overall people management. So I thought this game would be a walk in the park for Liverpool, considering how miserable Spurs have been and their current predicament and their current position in the Premier League. They're really struggling to stay alive. And when this game started, and as I was watching it, I wasn't really convinced. So let's look at what how the game panned out. So as you know, Liverpool, this was a draw, one goal apiece for each team. What was really surprising is the XG for Liverpool and Spurs was nearly more or less the same, I'd say. If I was watching the game, I didn't see um, Liverpool do anything besides being just sideways passing. We'll get to the selection of how this game sort of started with the starting lineup. But in terms of XG, Liverpool 1.67, Spurs 1.18. In fact, Spurs had seven shots on target as Liverpool's four. When I was watching this game, I somehow had this feeling that this would Liverpool would either draw and or lose this game. Through the game, I did not see Liverpool, play any expansive football. There was lack of creativity. The starting lineup, what kind of lineup did Slot put out? What was he thinking? He, he replaced Salah with Frimpong, who was absolutely woeful. He didn't do anything, in fact, throughout the first half. Rio is a youngster. He was fine. He did his trickery bit. But if you look at the overall chances, Florian Wirtz again was awful. Didn't feature anywhere. Our midfield really, Curtis Jones. If- I just don't see anything in that guy. I don't know how and what he brings to this team. And as usual, McAllister was really lightweight. We really need to sort that midfield out. Second half, Slot brought some changes in Salah and the others, but again, the game didn't really go anywhere. Overall, the performance seemed very huffy puffy. It wasn't really. So it was something that we've seen throughout the season. So all in all, it was a shambles of a performance. If you know, so I don't. In fact, this season, in terms this particular fixture, like this past week, Aston Villa lost, Chelsea lost. This was a great week for us to kind of, we're playing home against Spurs, a team which is struggling. We should have won that and cemented our position in the top four. But as usual, this season, whenever the opportunity beckons, we tend to kind of, you know, not do what we're supposed to do. So that's been the story of the season so far. Slot, Arne Slot, he's got to go. I am not a fan of sacking managers, but he just seems lost. He has no tactical nuance. He didn't make any changes in terms of tactics to make or have any impact on this particular game. So I think he's got to go. I saw Salah's post-match reaction, at least off the pitch. He seemed really agitated, and I'm sure in the coming weeks, if this kind of performance continues, we'll hear more of his his mental state, what he says and what he does. He's going to have some sort of chant or ramble in the coming weeks for sure. Overall, I think Liverpool continued their poor performance. I don't think they deserved a win. So it was a fair result. In fact, if Tottenham would have won, I wouldn't have been surprised watching that game. It would have been fair result as well. Overall, I think we are kind of going through the remaining 8 or 9 games or whatever is left. I really don't have much hope. Next week we play Brighton in the Premier League, which is an away game. Again, the way Brighton are playing, I don't see, and the way Liverpool are playing, I don't see Liverpool getting anything from that game. So that's my thoughts on this game. And now I would like to sort of move on to previewing the Champions League match between Liverpool and Galatasaray. As I said in my previous video, Liverpool should get through. This isn't a difficult tie. Galatasaray's away record is extremely poor, but we said the same thing about teams that are struggling, and suddenly what we've seen as a trend is teams that struggle come to Anfield and then suddenly they're playing well and they tend to get a result or so. So my heart and my head both are saying that Liverpool will win this one. So my prediction for this match is that Liverpool win 2-0 and they scrape through the next phase or the next stage of the Champions League. So let's see how this prediction pans out. So far, predictions have been hard considering the way Liverpool are playing. The games they should win comfortably, they don't. So I won't be surprised if this prediction also turns out not to be true. But well, I'm hoping as a Liverpool fan and an avid Red that Liverpool prove me wrong and come out and perform to their potential and make it to the next stage of the Champions League. So that's all from me. Thank you so much for listening. As always, I would be more than happy to hear your feedback on this channel, Redfooty. As I've said before, I'm a new content creator. I'm an avid Liverpool fan and a football fan. So please, share your feedback, like and subscribe if you like to get more content around the Reds and football in general. Thank you so much. Have a great day. I hope you're doing the things that you like, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.